ready to go, like we're ready to go right now.
Let's do it.
Ah, goedemiddag,
En
my handsome friend.
hey, lekker ding. Hoe is
Oh,
het?
goed zo, met jou?
Ja, prima. Een beetje ziek, a little bit ill. I'm feeling a little bit,
Oh, still?
uh,
Oh,
a little
for
cough. And yesterday I had to go to the bathroom and let myself go on the top side, not down there, but on the
yeah.
top side.
So
Yeah, felt really
yeah,
sick
I'm
all of a
I'm
sudden.
sorry. I'm
I had no
sorry I'm
idea.
not I'm sorry I'm not there again to make you chicken soup like I did last time.
Probably that would have went down the toilet bowl as well on the front, on the top side. Yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
I don't know. I have no idea what happened, but all of a sudden I felt really, really sick. And
well, you
so that's
you're
okay. I'm
feeling
all
and
right.
sounding better. I know that.
Yeah. I'm fine now.
Good.
So no problems, no worries. Yeah.
So hey
So
everybody who's joining us, welcome. We're thrilled that you're
yeah,
a part of our journey that is the Dutch American connection. As Tone would say, if you like us,
like and subscribe.
that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
We had so much fun talking about gardening that I wanted to talk about it some more, and Tone is very agreeable to that because honestly, this is not an exaggeration. Pretty much everything I know about gardening and composition came from working alongside you and all of the gardens that I've built, I've created, the gardens I've been a part of, their creation next to you,
Right.
shoulder to shoulder, sometimes knee and hip deep in dirt, shoveling things out. It's just, it's incredible. And I wanted to take a moment because someone had said something a few days ago that had prompted me to want to talk more about gardening and how accessible it is. And she said, you know what, that's my time with my creator. And I read something.
Hmm.
Gardening is the most profound form of meditation because few things help to cut down the noise like time spent in a garden. There's something visual and pleasing about being a part of creating. And when you're in a garden, and Tone, I know you'll agree, I don't ever have a complete design in my mind when I set out to structure a garden. I'll start to do something, but then at some point, the architecture, the land, the plants will kind of advise me on where they should go. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, yeah. I do agree, but I do have kind of a rough plan, but it's not like everything is thought out. But still, I have to admit, if I design something in the garden, I always try to come up with a rough framework and what I want, where to go. If you Do you understand what I'm saying?
I do, and
So
I know
yeah, it's
another thing that's important for you, and it's something that I learned is two things. Have a
yeah,
centerpiece or focal point. Number one, number two, you don't have to have just one centerpiece or focal point.
right. And you want to make your garden look appear as, but that's my personal taste, of course. There are a lot of different garden styles, of course. You have English gardens, you have French gardens, you have Japanese, Asian gardens, of course, and so it's always what kind of school do you like the most? What kind of thought you want to go have into your garden? I like the natural approach. I like it when my garden looks kind of like it's like you have built your house and in the middle of a nature area. That's what
Right,
I like,
right.
and try to make believe that, and that's of course the Asian thought, the Asian way of styling, is that you make your garden look as a natural environment where you live, instead of you get the nature in the form of pots and plants and stuff like that and make it look nice to fit your space instead of the other way around. So
Yeah,
but that's my personal taste. But on the other, if you look like gardens like from Versailles, like the really formal shape, like the squares and all the forms and the brushes are all shaped and stuff like that. That's another approach, and some people really like that. But so hey, whatever fits you best, whatever you like the most. But still, you have to plan it in some way. Everybody likes to feel comfortable and have space, and
right. And I
so
think,
yeah,
when it comes to organized and orderly gardens, there are two mindsets, and some people shy away from that because either they believe it's too difficult or they feel it's demonstrating some sort of dominion over the earth. Other people though, and I'm one of them, which is really strange. My love is medieval history. Absolutely love it. It was one of the
oh
best
yeah,
things about living in the Netherlands was all these castles we got to visit. And when we went to Paris, uh, but the passion for me, it seems, when it comes to gardening is I tend to create architectural elements that are either reflective of ancient Greece or ancient Rome. And I find it fascinating now
right,
that in places where I've lived and for other people, these are the kind of gardens I kind of design for them. I don't ever actually ask them, hey, what do you like? I sort of get an idea what they're interested in, what kind of colors they want, what kind of plants or flowers
right,
they want, and then I
right,
I dive right in. But I know now I'm feeling personally a shift where I'm starting to look at and focus on growing not just ornamentals, which for those of
yeah,
you watching and listening, an ornamental is anything that's there because it looks pretty and serves a purpose
yeah,
for the garden. But I also want to
yes,
grow things that you can consume, which
yeah,
I think I think is fun. What
yeah.
uh, what are your thoughts on one versus the other? I feel like a garden can have both.
Oh, absolutely. Like very interesting what you just said is that like for instance what's your passion like the Roman era and the Greek era. What you see over there is that they incorporate the greenery in the design overall of the buildings that they have. So the nature is there to complement the architecture. It's
Correct.
also a really cool way of looking at gardening. It's completely different than the Asian style, of course.
It
But
is.
I do like what you did in Altamonte Springs. It was really cool. I love that
Yeah.
because it was okay. It was all in miniature, but you kind of also took all kinds of materials and you made it. You arranged it in a certain way, and the backdrop of the hedge behind the fence
Hmm.
uh, complemented the whole design. So that was kind of a little bit of a lucky shot, maybe, but yeah, it was the overall feel was really interesting because you kind of replicated the whole uh, incorporating nature into the architectural design of the buildings back then. You recreated that, so that's what I really liked about it. That was really cool.
You make a great point, and I think this is important for folks that are out
Yeah,
there listening and watching, that you can let the space sort of guide you on what to do, and don't be afraid to borrow
you can.
things. And also, this to me, I think is just as important. What would you say to people who say, well, I can't grow anything because I kill everything I grow?
Oh yeah. Well, everybody said that once upon a time in their
I
life,
used
but
to say that.
yeah, but it's it's all every living thing needs attention, and that's if you're not prepared to uh, educate yourself of the needs of particular plants, life forms, whatever it is, you won't succeed. You have to know
Right.
if you have a baby, you have to feed her every couple of hours. If you don't,
That's
something
right.
goes wrong.
That's right.
Right. That's also with plants. If you have a ficus, for instance, it's a tropical plant. So then you have to mimic the soil, the type of soil. You also know that they grow in a season where it can be really dry and it can be really wet. So if you imitate that environment in your own space, living space, then you're fine. Doesn't always work, of course, because it's an artificial thing. You try to recreate something that's in nature, so you still have to tend to it, you know. And if
And
you,
plants also are,
everybody can do it.
I agree.
It-
And I'm glad that you said that, certainly, because you're doing it. You do it with a variety of different plants and textures and
yeah,
architecture and styles. The thing though that I've also noticed, and it's something that I share with other people when I'm building gardens for them, or I've built a garden for them, is
yeah,
plants
yeah,
tell you when they're hungry, when they need nutrition, when they're
yeah,
thirsty. Yeah, some plants, I mean, they go as far as being so overt as to allow their leaves to change color. Sometimes the leaves wilt. And the reason why that's happening, think about it as the plant version of frostbite. If you're out in a very, very cold environment, the first thing your body does to protect your organs is it draws blood away from the extremities. That's why frostbite happens. It's not your body trying to kill itself, it's your body trying to protect itself. And plants will pull water and moisture away from those leaves so that it can continue to remain alive for as long as possible.
yeah.
So if you've got plants and it looks like they're starting to
Yeah, it's
wilt.
very interesting what you just said, because I can give you an example. Like, for instance, here we go. It's just, oh, here I am.
Hey, hello, orchid.
This little boy, this is an orchid,
Yep.
you see? And all of a sudden, you see this brown leaf. You go like, oh my God, it's gonna die. No, it's not. Go on YouTube and check out the species, and then you will know that this is the mother plant as I bought it. You see the little stem here?
Mm-hmm.
That was the growing, that was the flower. And the flower wilts, you have to cut it off. And then the old flower, the old plant, starts sacrificing himself for the new growth that's
Right.
right over here. So it takes the energy from the old one and puts it into the new one. So there's a different.
What
Sometimes if this happens, not good. But in this case, yes, it's good.
what
And
are the
everybody can bring
plants?
it.
What are the
Huh?
plants? What are the plants in the Elberg Centrum that get topped? They get cut down every
The
spring, and by
willows.
summer,
Yeah, the willows.
yeah,
Willow tree. Yeah,
yeah, the same
willow
thing is
trees.
done to
Yeah,
crepe myrtles here in the States. You will see in the early spring, they will cut these things back almost to the trunk. And then by the
yeah.
end of summer, they're shouting and screaming for joy with all of their little branches and limbs and
Yeah,
flowers. It's
yeah.
pretty
And
cool.
most of the time, yeah, most of the time, those are plants from like wintry environments, stuff like that.
Yep.
In the winter, they die off. They preserve all their energy in the root system, and then when it gets warmer again, it goes like a big explosion of growth. Yeah,
Which
very
is
cool. Yeah, willow trees.
I remember in the course of a week, I watched the land transform from frozen tundra to tulip bulbs shooting sprouts up. He's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah,
I'm like here. And spring in the Netherlands, if you have never been, comes with a vengeance. It is literally, man, you have every piece of green growth. It's almost like a
yeah,
magical creative switch is thrown and everything
yeah,
starts to blossom and leaves form
yeah.
and things come out of the ground. And and
Yes.
that's why, especially bulb-based plants, if anybody out there has any kind of a tulip or flower bulb based plant, every
Yeah.
year, every year
Yeah,
you
well,
can expect to
yeah.
see that happen.
Yeah, well, that's the beauty of spring in a moderate climate where you have winters and colder periods. That's when you see there you have this cycle of life. That's really beautiful as you
Yep.
like it. The downside is you have the cold, and you have the rain, and it's wet and it's cold, and you don't want to go out, and you feel gloomy. I feel, yeah, I feel gloomy because of the bad weather. If if it were up to me, I love to have beautiful weather all year round. but you live in a subtropical climate. So for you, it's the other way around. You go like, oh yeah, the winter, yeah, great, nice and cool. And I would go like, ah, whatever.
Well,
Remember you were sitting in
oh,
the backyard with me. Oh my God.
yeah, I'm sitting back there with either a sweater or a short sleeve shirt, drinking coffee, and because there's something inherently unnatural and unacceptable to me about getting up and showering and getting out of the shower and starting to perspire because the heat and humidity is already that gross. And you walk outside. I tell people Florida has two seasons.
Yeah.
Surface of the sun hot and gates of hell hot. Those are the two seasons. If you're lucky, you get a couple of days every year where you got to break out a winter jacket.
Yeah.
But everything
Oh
else
boy.
is, and it's, I also say Florida, the Florida climate is the air you can wear. If people want to know
Right.
what it's like living in Florida in the summer, imagine waking up, taking a warm shower, going into a sauna without drying off, and then coming out of the sauna and putting on a warm,
Yeah.
wet sheepskin fleece and going through your day.
Yeah,
That
I
that
understand.
see
Yeah,
suddenly the subtropical climate
that's the
doesn't
downside.
sound
But
so lovely.
getting back to the garden thing, how
Yes,
cool is
please.
it that you can grow palm trees and stuff like that in your garden? I can't do that, but you can. You
Well,
know,
you
like
could put them in
oh my
pots.
God.
You just need pots that are big enough and you can take care of them.
Yeah, but where do I leave them in the wintertime, honey? Can't put them
Yeah, I don't
anywhere.
I mean
We
that's
have
a great
small
point.
houses.
That's a great point because in Central and North Florida they grow them, and Disney is notorious for being able, and Universal, both theme parks are notorious for growing plants that shouldn't be growing in that zone. But it's
Yeah,
because sometimes it's a matter of them running um, warm water or cool water through lines that are in the root balls. So that's a kind of technology that most people
right.
wouldn't find accessible. But I think,
Yeah,
to me, that's pretty it's pretty impressive. And I also want to say that when you're building a garden, it's going to be an experimentation process. And it still is for me. I know nothing at all. I
yeah,
know the barest minimum, but I
yeah,
let plants kind of tell me what to do. And sometimes I'll plant something somewhere where I want it to be,
yeah.
and it doesn't want to grow there. So I'll move it somewhere else and it flourishes. Okay, fine. It
Oh,
told
yeah,
me what I needed to know. Um,
yeah,
you created a nice little tiny uh container garden. You showed me a picture of it
yeah.
before the show.
Oh,
Would you
yeah.
is it accessible for you to show other people?
Right now at this moment,
Yeah.
well, it's pretty heavy.
Oh, is it
It's
really?
yeah, because it's
You
full
know
of
what?
water. Because I
Nope.
have no,
Don't show them.
wait.
Don't no,
What?
don't show them. This is what we're gonna do. This is what we're gonna do because we
Okay.
talked about this as well. Following this particular episode, in the ending trailer, I'm gonna have photos of different gardens that we've both created, garden elements, ideas, and things of that
Cool.
nature. You'll get to see photos of gardens under
Yeah.
construction, projects in their finished form, and also how the most unusual of items can be
Yeah.
transformed. For example, I tell people if you're looking to build a garden inexpensively, two things to do. First of
Right.
all, visit garage sales and thrift stores because you'll
Thrift
find
stores.
gardening
Yeah.
equipment, you'll find pots,
Oh yeah.
you'll find
Yeah.
gardening tools. And personally, I like
Yeah.
pots that already look like they've been lived in because that makes your garden feel more established. And then another thing
Yeah.
is go for a drive or a ride somewhere, and if you find some flowers or plants growing by the side of the road and it's not on private property, so I'm telling you now, don't go traipsing
Right.
through someone's private property.
Right.
But if you
Right.
see something and you're like, oh, I think that would look good in my garden, keep
Yeah.
I know plenty of people who keep little bags and burlap and a little shovel to help them dig up plants, and their gardens reflect that. You take it home and grow it. those
Right.
are two ideas, pots, saucers, old plates. If you have more pots than saucers, and most of us do, old plates that you're no longer using, maybe you're
Right.
deciding to get rid of, you get pieces of rock to level the plate, and now you put the pot on top of the plate. Now you have a saucer to catch some of that water. You can stack pots on top of each other. I've seen pots as water features. I've used pots as water features. I've used them for
Yeah.
irrigation.
Yeah.
There's a number of things you can do. Just be creative about it.
That's true. And inconsistency in your design is a really big thing for me. I like that. I like that a lot. It's like I stole it from the Japanese, of course. It's they call it wabi sabi. Have you ever
Mhm.
heard about that?
I have it.
It's kind of the art of imperfection.
Oh, that's great.
I love that. You know why? Because it gives you a natural feel. If
Right.
you put everything aligned, and you have to. What I really like is, and I also use that principle for this little thing that I just showed you. It's you search for a kind of balance in the imperfection things. So you do
Right.
arrange it, but it's not. It looks natural because it's not all symmetric. It's a little bit to the left, and the other thing
Right.
is a little crooked, and the other
Yes.
thing is it's like the randomness, the beauty of randomness, and
But
the imperfection.
this is a thing
That's
that
beautiful.
people may not be aware of. Artists do this when they paint.
Yeah,
You create the garden in a way that causes people to follow it with their eyes before they actually follow it with their body. And
yeah.
you have these cues and you have these elements that are kind of directing you, whether they're off center. Oh, there it is. There it
I
is.
tried it.
And Tone, in his typical humbleness, goes, "Yeah, this is a little something I threw together with some things I had laying around." But
But I
the
did.
point is anybody can do that.
Anybody can do this. Yeah. And the only thing you have to do is look at things that interest you. If you go like,
Yes.
hey, this stone has a really interesting shape. Just take that as a starting point, and you go like, hey, this is a nice tray. Maybe you can use that. Hey, it's kind of the same color. You need green, you need stuff like that. You take a little moss, you take a little clipping from a tree or something, and you try to make it work. And that's how it goes.
And
And
to stack real quickly, to stack on what you said about consistency, plants need a routine, just the same as children, humans, and dogs. They
yeah,
need
they
a
do. Yeah,
routine. They know what's happening and they know
yeah,
what to do and they know how to respond based on the cycle of seasons. And for
yeah.
us, especially if you're building a container garden, set a timer on your watch or your phone to go off so that once a week you water those plants that need water once a week, once every 2 weeks, maybe twice a week. And they know because they, oh, it's Tuesday. Today's the day that I'm going to get water. I'm pretty excited about this. The plants know this,
Yeah, but
just like they
yeah,
know
it's true.
there's tons of information out there about
Right.
studies on how plants respond to sound.
Oh yeah,
And
oh yeah.
I don't always talk to my plants, but sometimes I do, and I know they're listening, as crazy as that sounds.
Yeah, well, and also but still you have to keep in mind. Yeah, yes, it's right to have a watering regime that you make sure that you do that all the time. But sometimes your environment might change because it can be colder, it can be less humid. So
Right.
if it's more humid, then your plant probably doesn't need water
Correct.
at that point. So it's always a good idea to stick your finger in the soil, and like maybe an inch or something at the most, and then you feel if it feels cold and damp, you don't need to water yet.
That's right.
You can wait another day.
That's right. And
Uh,
in fact,
yeah,
if you want, I got my mom some of these at a Renaissance festival long time ago, and I love that she still has them. They are
yeah,
these snakes, and they are, I think they're terracotta snakes, but when the soil has moisture in it, the snake changes color. And as the soil dries out, the
really.
terracotta and the color changes on the snake, which is so clever. It's just an upright snake with a big smile on its face and big blue eyes, and it changes color when the soil has moisture, but when it doesn't,
Right.
so it's such, but yeah, sticking your finger in is also an easy way. You just pay attention because
Oh yeah.
your plants are going to tell you what they need. Don't let don't let the fact that you feel somehow you kill everything you try to grow stop you, because there's nothing there. Green onions are a great example of a really simple plant to grow. When next time you go to the store and buy green onions, you're going to notice they come with the roots. Cut them off,
Right.
put the roots in dirt, and I will convert a small planter out of something like a container that strawberries come in. I'll line it with paper and
Right.
paper towel, put some soil in it, shove those things in, put a tray underneath it, and they will start to
Mm.
grow, which I think is super awesome. There are any number of options, and as you mentioned, you can go online and find information on how to grow the
Oh
garden you want to
my
grow.
God. Oh yeah. There's a wealth of information on the internet. I love internet. I really do. And so the things that I learned already from just going on YouTube or Google, it's
Yes.
amazing. You
Yeah,
know?
it's a great, it's like having an advisor in your pocket when you're trying to work around whatever that
Exactly.
challenge is. You just go, someone's got
Right.
information on it, and the person who's got the information on that is putting it out there so folks like us can learn and then share and
Yeah.
propagate that information.
Right. Exactly. It's
So,
also what people want people to do as well is to share this with videos as well.
yes.
Share, like, and subscribe. Yeah, that's cool.
Yes.
Yeah, like
I see how
it's
you slipped that in there. Share, like, and subscribe. Nice work. How clever of you. Yes,
pretty
if you
funny.
share, like, and
Yeah.
subscribe, we will be fruitful and multiply.
Yes, we will. Like our plans
Look at that.
and our friendship.
Any
Yeah, man.
any uh any any parting thoughts of wisdom or words of advice to our new gardeners out there who are now excited and ready to take on a set of garden gloves and a small patch of land or a few empty containers?
Yeah, watch a lot of YouTube videos on any subject regarding gardening and stuff like that, because there's so much to learn, and then if you have all this information, the more information you get, the more everything falls into place. You go like, it's not so difficult after all. Maybe I do have green fingers. I
And
do.
I
Yes,
want
you
to
do.
quickly point this out. The thing that really caused me to develop a powerful love of gardening was the fact that I see what the Dutch do. They're small, sometimes imperceptibly, impossibly small tracts of land are transformed into beautiful spaces. And these spaces aren't even spaces that might look the same year round because of winter, yet they take the
Yeah.
time, effort, and energy to make it happen. And if that can be done, certainly there's no excuse for the
Right.
rest of us not taking on something similar.
No, because it's relatively easy to transform a little outdoor space into a really, really comfortable, like almost like a second living room. You know, I catch myself living outdoors for the whole summer.
Yes.
I never I get inside, but most of the time I'm outside,
And
and
you
that's
know you've achieved what you wanted to achieve when you've
yeah,
created a space that's an additional outdoor room.
right. And it's an extra. It's almost like I'm on holidays 24/7 every day. It really gives you a nice uh feel, like a almost like you're on holidays or stuff like that.
I
If you
am
feel, yeah,
I'm I wanted to add to that and say I'm a big believer that when you do it right, your house should be a place where you go to recharge, and a garden
yeah,
is one of the
yeah,
best places to do that because not only is it a safe space, but you have these living things around you that are feeding you energy and thriving off of your energy. It's
yeah,
beautiful exchange.
yeah. I love your backdrop, by the way. The space that you're in right now, it looks really, really nice. It
Thank you.
really does. Makes you feel really comfortable.
Well, you know
Good thing.
about me, and I mean you saw the Kungaloosh room that I created, and I
Yeah.
wanted to create a space that was inviting and welcoming and caused people to sit down and you grab a beer, grab a single malt scotch, and just talk. Just whatever came up for a topic. So for me,
Yeah.
and like gardening can be intentional or not. And you
Yeah.
will find when you start, eventually the garden will start telling you where to put things, and you'll be okay with that. And
Yeah.
your intentionality with your garden is creating an outdoor space that's relaxing and inviting, and you have accomplished that in
Yeah.
every iteration of garden I've ever seen in your backyard. So hats off to you on
And-
that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you, man. And it's also what also is a big thing for me is because I'm a very how do you say that in English? I like having people over. I
Yeah, you're
like people
social.
feeling comfortable. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Gezellig.
like that.
Gezelligheid.
Gezellig, yeah,
Yeah,
right. That's oh, that word, my God, it's so typical Dutch. Everybody say anyway. Yeah, I like having people over, and I like to invite people in my space, in my bubble, and enjoy the time that we have together. And you if you have a nice environment in your house, it's it so much adds to the whole experience of being together and hanging out, just having a good time together.
I
You don't
agree.
need anything else.
I agree.
And
So
that yeah,
I for that point, and that's a great place for us to transition in wrapping. I think when you're creating a garden, whether it's a container garden or something much bigger, create a space that you want to be around. I've got a real
right.
quick before we sign off. I've got a friend whose son loves butterflies, and I said, well, build a container garden. And she goes, I can do that. And I went, yep. There's tons of plants and flowers out there, like milkweed, for example,
Yeah,
that monarch butterflies. That's where they come
yeah,
from when their caterpillars go through that pupating stage. So
right.
it's possible the only thing stopping you from building the garden of your dreams is you.
Exactly. Absolutely true. And you can build whatever you like if you take into account the climate that you're living in. Just have to adjust your plans.
I
That's it.
agree. I agree.
And yeah, and it's been a pleasure talking to you again, Mr. Fox, today.
You
And
too. This was a wonderful episode. I feel like we're going to revisit gardening again in the future because we're both
yeah,
passionate about it.
yeah, we only scratched the surface for talking about gardens and
Right.
stuff. Yeah, I'm a big Japan guy, China. I love that stuff
Yes.
like that.
Well, folks,
When the summer
watch
is coming along, I'm gonna.
watch the closing trailer, and you'll see
Yeah,
images of gardens current and past that we both had a hand in.
yeah, that would be cool. Cool,
Well, as
nice.
Tone says, if you like the show, even if you don't like the show, you should still click like and subscribe. And be sure to tell all of your friends, all of them, every one of you,
Yeah,
your family too.
yeah,
We'll see you on the next episode. Happy gardening. Let us know your thoughts. Let us know what you're doing, and feel free to
yeah.
share photos of your projects because we want to see them.
Oh yeah, we do. Yeah, absolutely. And
Well,
thank you very much for looking at our podcast
yes.
again.
Thanks for being a part of
Mhm.
our world. We will see you on the next one. Until then,
Yes.
later.
Later. Goodbye. Thank